Hey everyone, Super Coco Bro here. Mega Crit just released the major update number 2 for Slay the Spire. But if you've been following my beta patch updates, this is going to be sounding very similar to you. But they did add some new things that even the beta patch testers don't even know about. So first off, they addressed an issue that people were happening to have happen to them multiple times. Like they could actually kind of correlate what they were going to get based on some RNG that they have here. And they found out that when you pick Niao's bones, when you're in, I believe it was in the overgrowth, that there's a more highly likely chance that you're going to be getting the card debt. So they've kind of figured it out. So the randomness is all over the place now. The game is truly random, is basically what they just did with that. So, a huge thing that I had no idea was coming, but this is so cool. It adds so much more variation to be able to play this game. They added modding already into the Steam Workshop. All you have to do is click on the link within the update itself, and you can go and play Slay the Spire 2 with new mods. So cool. No ancillary things, no third-party things that you need to actually download here. You can just do it right from Steam. That is so awesome. And then they actually, now they introduced the bestiary. This is basically what they're doing. It's animations, so far at least, animations of what they do when they do this attack or the other attack, or when they die, when they spawn, all those kinds of things, which is pretty cool. I think they've just done so much more visually with this game than they did in the first one, which I really do appreciate. Now, if you've been playing since the last major update, you were playing against the Doormaker. And if you never touched any of the beta patches, well, you're missing out because Doormaker's dead. Doormaker sucks. Doormaker's gone. He is gone forever, at least for now. You never know. They do have another Act 3 that they're going to be making. So, Aeon Glass is taking the place of our Doormaker fight. And if you want to find out about Aeon Glass, go check out my other video that talks about, it's basically a sneak peek at Aeon Glass and what it does. And it's a really cool fight, and it's very challenging, much more of a damage race than anything else, but it is quite the challenge, really. And another enemy that they did work on is the Infested Prism. The Infested Prism was basically what I called the Dorito whenever I stream, if you ever watch me on here. Basically, the Infested Prism, I called Dorito, would give you, when you attacked it, it would give you an energy, which is very weird because it's like the only enemy out there that actually would benefit you to hit it. So they changed that. Instead of you hitting it and getting energy, it puts a curse on all of your skills that's called Tainted, and it's 3 Tainted. So whenever you play a skill, it gains Tainted, and what Tainted does, it basically increases its damage by the amount of Tainted. So if it says 3, it would be 3. And down the line in the fight, he upgrades that from 3 to 6 to 9 to 12. So Andy has a multi-attack turn in there. So if you're playing one skill and you're on the multi-attack turn, you're giving him 9 attack for just the first go through. So Infested Prism is a lot more challenging now. So they added badges, a couple more badges, which it's not the biggest thing ever. It just kind of tells you that, hey, you played more than 20 cards in a single turn. And now they've done tons of additions and tons of buffs and reworks and nerfs from the last major update to now. And I wanted to hit the ones that I really thought were very impactful. And they added these new Niao's relics. The Kaleidoscope. So, you know how it's been kind of rare, the runs in which you can actually play with other cards from other characters. It's now increased in frequency, the amount of times that you can actually play with other characters' cards. You got the Kaleidoscope. Upon pickup, you gain 2 card rewards with cards from other characters. So right out of the gates, you could be getting cards from the Regent, the Necrobinder, while playing on the Silent. Or you could be getting, just any combinations are just there. It's just a really cool relic. I love picking it. The Fishing Rod, I've had some mixed results on Fishing Rod. You can get a lot of upgrades from this thing. And what the Fishing Rod is every 3 normal combats, it upgrades a random card in your deck. So if you think about that relic and you take it from the very beginning, If you fight 15 normal fights, which is a lot, it's 5 per act, you're going to get 5 upgrades. But here's the downside. The first one that you upgrade, it is so likely that it's just a strike and a defend. And then if you think about the next time you do it too, it's 50% chance that you're going to get an upgrade of a strike and a defend. And then from there, it's more likely that you're going to get the cards that you want to upgrade than the cards that you don't want to upgrade. So it's an okay starting relic. It can be really good if you just find a path that's got like 9 fights in it and you just do all normal fights throughout the whole thing and you do that every single act. You've got a whole upgraded deck with just the fishing rod, which can be fun. My most favorite addition of all of the new Niao's relics is the Silken Tress. Oh my god, it's so awesome. It makes every single card viable in Slay the Spire 2. Silken Tress is amazing. It enchants all the cards in the first combat reward with Glam, meaning the first time you play it, it gets replay. But you do lose all your gold, which, fine. It's still good. It even makes Slice good on the Silent. Doing 12 damage for 0 cost the first time is good. Just imagine getting that on an amazing, a high-end card reward. Getting it on Glacier. Boom. You've got a Glacier that summons 4 Frost Orbs, and it gives you 12 block. I mean, amazing. So, Silken Tress, definitely try that out when you get to working on playing the game in the new update here. 2's Pumpkin Candle got a rework, and what that was the relic that the energy dissipates by the end of the act. You get it for this act, but it goes away. I didn't really like it, never really used it. But now what it does, it extinguishes after 5 combats and can be kindled at rest sites. So much more viable. You actually can keep that thing, and if you want to play kind of you want to path a little differently with that because you don't want to take on a whole bunch of fights. You've got an extra energy for only 5, but then you can use a rest site to get an energy back. It's a pretty cool one. I like it. They buffed Niao's scroll box. It no longer takes all our gold. So basically the no longer taking the gold went to Silken Tress. And the scroll boxes was when you've got the extra cards that you picked. You picked from 3 cards and 3 cards, and then you got all of those cards. I like the buff to that. The Booming Conch was upgraded from now you draw extra cards and you gain an extra energy at the start of an elite battle, which I like, and it makes it so much better. The Niao's Fury is also got an upgrade. You get to pick what discarded cards you want back into your hand, so it's essentially like a Grave Blast. It's a dredge, and it's a phenomenal card. It does 10 damage, and it gives you the ability to pick up something, maybe a 0 cost card in your deck that gives you more damage or block for free. It's a great card. And so now they also buffed the Nutritionist Soup, which was basically making your strikes 0 cost, making them free. It's no longer just 0 cost. It's 0 cost and they deal more damage. I actually just had a run real recently where I had 0 cost strikes doing 15 and 18 damage, and then I got replay on it. So it was doing like 45 damage with the hidden gem card. It was really awesome. Just doing a 0 cost strike for 45 damage. And this is just basically, they moved this so that it shares the same pool, the Seal of Gold. Just how they choose relics, how your choices, or how you get your choices of relics in the Ancients is from a selection of a pool of 5 for each option. So they just moved its option. They changed the Pale's Eye relic so that's where if you didn't play anything, you exhaust your hand, and then it would give you a new turn with a new card draw. Basically, what changed is that if an enemy has like vulnerable or frail or something on them or weak, it would not diminish. That's the change. They replaced Doormaker, like I said, Aeon Glass. If you want to know more about Aeon Glass, go check out my video that is talking about the sneak preview of the Aeon Glass. They reworked the Infested Prism, like I said. They made axe spots into one axe spot. It's no longer multiple axe spots. It's just one big one that changes out after you kill them. Skulking Colony got a little bit of change, making it potentially to end in 4 turns, but it's no longer going to gain block, but it hits you harder. It hits you for a ton attack the first turn, 16, and then 16, and then 11, and then it does its 11 by 2. So it does a ton of damage to you. It's like 64 damage or something like that in 4 turns. So has the potential to be able to kill it in 4 turns, but it usually drags on a little bit longer. It made it basically, I think it made it a little bit harder in my... No, it's kind of a good balance, really. If you take your deck right, it's not that bad. The Haunted Ship got changed a little bit. It's not that big of a change. It applies 3 weak to you on turn 1 rather than when it attacks. So you're basically kind of focused more on blocking when it's attacking. It no longer does the ramming speed move, which is doing the debuff to you and attacking. It just basically cycles between a 14 attack and a 5x3 attack. And it's a decent change. Punch Construct changed its attacks to now do a 6x2 and then 16. It doesn't do 16 then 6x2, so they flipped those. They adjusted people's health. Not that big of a deal. I mean, it's helpful, but it's just adjusting that they're trying to figure out. More adjusting with Soulfish, more adjusting with these, just making him do less damage. Nothing really big. Nothing with the Slippery Bridge. It's like, okay, you can't get the same card twice. That's fine. Try and get a couple Lantern Keys. See if you can get a couple Lantern Keys. It's kind of cool what they give you. The Boot Relic applies to Osti's attack. Man, I still say Osti. That buffed more cards on multiplayer. Fasten did get a nerf. It's still incredibly strong. Fasten is still incredibly strong. It's 4 instead of 6, or instead of 5, and then 6 instead of 7. They did a lot of buffs and a lot of reworks on some cards during this. These beta patches up into this major patch here. The Conflagration card was the gold card for the Ironclad that would do more damage based on more attacks that you played. They've just basically made it a strength scaling card where it does 2x4, and then when you upgrade it, it's 2x5. If you got a lot of strength, it's a ridiculously amazing card because it does it to all enemies. It's an amazing strength scaling card. The Drum of Battle is totally changed. It's now, it draws cards and grants energy if it's exhausted. So it's a draw card, or it's a gain energy, which I like it so much more than what it is. Beyond the Howl from the... I was literally going to say that opposite. Howl from Beyond, it triggers to the start of the next turn. At the start of your turn instead of the end of your turn. Oh, no, it switched to that. It plays at the end of your turn rather than the start of your turn, which is actually a buff because then you can draw it again. In that turn, you can actually draw it again. Entrench got a little bit of buff. Unrelenting, which is the... So they did do this. They did a buff on every single card that allowed a skill or a power or an attack to be free. Unrelenting got an attack buff, which is the one that makes an attack free. And Pounce, which makes the skill free for the Silent, that got the same attack buff, and the same thing with the Defect got the same kind of buff. So it's a really good card, really. If you think about it, the Silent kind of really hurts for energy. It's not like a high energy deck. So whenever you can get a skill played for free, like a free Survivor, is great. And doing 14 damage, it's a pretty good card, the Pounce. So they buffed that for each of those characters. And they changed the card completely. Follow Through really sucked. Follow Through is like, it does 7 damage. It'll do 5 more if you have 5 or more cards in your deck. Or 5 or more cards in your hand. Whoa, 12 damage. Not that good. They totally changed it to Scare, which Scare is a 0-cost card that's an uncommon that does weak to all enemies and exhausts. And when you upgrade it, it changes to a weak without exhausting. I like the change much better. Predator got changed from an uncommon to a common, so now it's more common to get the 15 damage and draw 2 cards next turn that cost 2. Just some really cool changes. The Blade of Ink got a little bit of a decrease. They kind of reworked how parry worked. Instead of it just being you get 11 block when Sovereign Blade is pulled, it's now adds block, so it's like a block card too. So if you got Dexterity, it counts. And then they changed Sword Sage to give replay, so that when you play your Sovereign Blade, it gets replay twice. So if you get Dexterity things on it, if you get parry, it can do 20 block basically for you with Sword Sage, which is a pretty cool synergy. Astral Pulse got a little bit of a nerf on damage, but it can be increased through strength. So Monologue playing with it is a little bit better. Tyranny, it triggers bombardment before instead of after. It's not that big of a deal. It does help the card. Sealed Throne changed a little bit. That is actually a major change in my opinion. Sealed Throne was the one where you gain stars for every card that you play, and it was innate when you upgraded it, which means you got it. Immediately you can play that and you're getting stars every single time. It changes it to lowering the energy cost, which I can see why they changed it. It's just such a good card to have upgraded. I can see why they changed it. It's still a good card, but a lot less powerful because you don't know if you're going to get it the first turn. The Crescent Sphere, just a little bit of a buff here. A little bit of a buff on royalties, a little bit of a buff on Furnace. Same thing on Monarch Gaze, an energy reduction, which it definitely needed because I never really played Monarch Gaze. It was just too expensive. So down to 1 energy is actually much better. They nerfed the Reflect on it, so you get a little bit less block. Bulwark was a major, amazing card. They kind of nerfed it just a tiny bit, less block on it. Patter got a little bit of a block decrease. Same with Minion Sacrifice, got a little bit of a block decrease. So they're just doing a little bit of balancing for most of this. Same thing with the Necrobinder. They buffed Death March, which is the when you draw additional cards, it does additional damage. It really sucked. It's much better now. You can actually play it. Getting the upgrade on it makes it much more viable of a card to do damage on. It just sucked before. Sikkim got a little bit of an increase in summon. The Scythe card's damage is increased a little bit more. I like that. And they nerfed Debilitate for 1 less turn. So not much changes with the Necrobinder. They kind of like where the Necrobinder is at, obviously. This is a major change to me for the Defect. The Defect's Fusion card. Its energy cost decreased from 2 to 1. So now it's 1 cost for 1 plasma, and it exhausts. That to me is such a good card now compared to where it was. Because if you think about where Fusion was at, you had to use 2 energy to play the unupgraded version. You had to do 2 energy to get an energy for 3. It's like 3 turns to balance itself out, and then it's finally paying for itself when it's on the 4th turn. It is not that good. But now that it's 1 cost and it exhausts out of the deck if you don't want to upgrade it, because it removes the exhaust as an upgrade, it kind of makes it a card you don't really need it as, you don't really need to upgrade it. Before, it was an absolute essential upgrade. So the 1 cost, it pays off for itself in 3 turns. You get an extra energy, it balances itself out for the next turn. I like it much more now. They made Shatter a better card. It evokes, the Shatter was the AoE card, the gold AoE card for the Defect. It evokes all of the orbs twice now. It decreases its damage, but it evokes the orbs twice. Just think about if you've got 1 capacitor plate and you've got 5 orbs, it's 6 orbs. Evoking all of them twice with that card, amazing, amazing. Tesla Coil did get changed, and I love the change with it. They decreased its damage from 6 to 4, but what they did is they actually make it trigger more than once when you upgrade it. So it triggers all of the lightning orbs twice. Such a better increase in change. Hyper Beam got buffed. A little bit of extra damage. Synthesis, what I told you before, is the power-free card. Got some more damage increase. Uproar got increased. And the Infusion Core Relic got buffed. Lightning Orbs deal an additional damage now. They actually deal 1 more additional damage. So, essentially, with this update, they have changed a lot. The major takeaway is that Aeon Glass is legit. It is here, and it replaces Doormaker. He's here to stay. And they added some more new Nial's relics. That's an amazing, cool thing that they added to the game. I like the rework on the Infested Prism. They just did a really great job of making the game more fun in different ways. And I think, really, it feels like the game is still easy because they haven't added a final boss yet. I mean, that's going to change when they add a final boss. But it feels like more cards are viable to win the game now, because they keep buffing and nerfing certain things, so it's just more viable. Everything in the deck seems to be viable except for Slice, and then Slice is still good if you got Glam on the card. If you got Glam on a Slice, 12 damage for free is pretty nice. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. What did you think about this update? Is this too much? Did you like the boss change? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll catch you all in the next video.